Sometimes I get asked, what's the best way to keep books for a business? That is to say, what software should we use? What kind of procedures should we put in place? What are the basics of good, sound accounting procedures? And the very most basic answer I have for this is that the accounting and bookkeeping should be done as simply as possible. And by that I mean there's a tendency, especially in today's modern times with various software programs that are used to keep accounting books and records, to overcomplicate things. And as we go a little further in the video, I'll explain what I mean by this. This video is primarily for business owners and the managers, people who have hands-on experience or usage with bookkeeping, and is not going to cover that much about the debits and credits, the very technical aspects of bookkeeping. My grandmother once said, a stitch in time saves 9. This type of thing can really, the basics is what I'm talking about. It can really come into play and save a whole lot of work. When a program like QuickBooks is used, if you're properly trained in it, it'll handle a whole variety of tasks for a small business. You can generate invoices for your clients, you can pay bills, you can pay them either online or you can write a check. The checks come out, they're very nice looking, printed well. As well, you can prepare financial statements, income statements and balance sheet for your company. This can be done on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, annual basis. Credit card systems can be put in place so that your customers can pay you with credit cards. However, it is a very, not a very, but a somewhat complex system to use. To begin with, what we recommend for small business owners, if you're going to use a system like QuickBooks and you do not have the proper training for it, what we say is write the checks. Go ahead, pay your bills, write a nice looking check that gets printed out, very professional looking for your vendors, and write your invoices. You can keep beautiful records with your customer lists, your aging of accounts receivable, things like this. We'll do all the rest, meaning we'll reconcile the bank account and prepare the financial statements. And here's the reason for that. The minimum requirements to use a program like QuickBooks to prepare financial statements are college courses, Accounting 101 and 102. On top of that, several months should be applied using the QuickBooks, and this in the beginning should be done under or with a little bit of supervision. There are perhaps 300 buttons in QuickBooks on the program itself. We're talking about drop-down buttons, menus, so many options. Ordinarily, a business might use 25 or 30 of these features, but to have to look at all 300 of them and pick out the 25 or 30 that you need, this routinely gets mixed up for people who are not professional bookkeepers or accountants. This is what I am an accountant myself, this is what we run into. and is the reason why I say stick with the stuff that you can do and let someone else, either a bookkeeper in-house or an outside service, let them handle the rest. There are a number of programs. QuickBooks is the most common, but certainly there's many other programs. The two main versions of QuickBooks now are the QuickBooks Online and the desktop version. The main difference between the two, QuickBooks Online can be done anywhere, you have internet access, and the desktop version is mostly done while a person is sitting stationary at their computer. Of course, you could always use a program, go to My PC or something like that, and go into your program, but these are the two main versions. Amongst these versions, QuickBooks Pro, I believe that's the name, that will cover 99% of the businesses, small businesses that are out there. So there is no need for much of a fancier version. You perhaps would need to check if the copy of QuickBooks you're looking at will handle things like vendor cards, credit card processing. But other than that, in general, QuickBooks Pro, they handle it. Some of the non-for-profits as well, they may need specialized programming. But this goes back to the simplest version oftentimes is the best. For a very simple business, and I know people that make six-figure incomes who do this, they use a pencil and a piece of paper. Consider, for example, to come up with the year's income, if all your monies are either paid to you by check or some other, or bank draft, or a credit card, which then gets deposited into the bank, and you have one bank statement, all that needs to be done at the end of the year is take your 12 bank statements for the year, January through December, and add up all the deposits. That's one number on each statement. And there's your income. From there, you can go to either an piece of accounting paper with a pencil and start writing out the checks that you've written, the various bank debits that are processed through your account, and you can write them out on a columnar pad, and that'll serve you just fine. If you add up the totals for each column. Alternatively, the next step up would be a program like Excel that adds up the columns for you. Now, the reason that these first two options are so convenient is that you can see what's happening with these spreadsheets, either an actual paper copy or an Excel copy. You can see what's happening. In QuickBooks or any other program, once you enter the number, that number gets lost in space, so to speak. It's in there. You have to know which buttons to use to pull it out. One of the things that I hear from periodically with new owners is they say, Phil, we have a copy of QuickBooks, we've entered numbers in, but we know for a fact that some of those numbers are not true balances. And straightening it out, QuickBooks can be quite a chore. You really have to dig in there, and you've got to know what you're doing. So for those people that have a little bit bigger business and you're going to need a little more professional program, get a good bookkeeper or use an outside service, and that may suit you very well. Again, my name is Phil Iverson. I'm an accountant here in Chicago. We do small business accounting and bookkeeping, as well as the tax returns for the small businesses. At the end of this video, or following shortly hereafter, will be my contact information. Anyway, I hope this will be of some guidance in this somewhat murky area of how to keep proper bookkeeping for a small business. Until next time, thanks for watching.